Hi, my name is Patrick Barton, and I'm a professor of speech at Lone Star College LSC-CyFair. I'm here today to talk to you about my top 10 rules for college success. You might be wondering, hey Patrick, why did you make this top 10 list? And it's very simple. When I was a college student about 20 years ago, I actually dropped out of college. That's right, I went to college for about 2 years and I dropped out. And the reason I dropped out is because I didn't have anybody giving me some good advice on how to avoid some of the pitfalls that you can run into as a first-time college student. In fact, I didn't even go back to college for almost 10 years. So I didn't get my actual degree till I was in my 30s. Now, maybe you're already in your 30s or older, and that's fine. But if you're younger, you probably don't want to spend a good 10 or 15 years getting your college degree. So I'm here today to share these top 10 rules to help explain how you can be successful in college. Rule number 1, have a long-term plan. Now, for some people, long-term means, what am I going to have for lunch today? And that's not the kind of long-term plan I'm talking about. We need to look way, way in the future. Not even just what am I going to do next year or the year after, where am I going to transfer? I'm talking 20, 30, 40 years in the future. And the reason you have to think so far into the future is because what you do today is going to lead you to that path 40 years from now. So picture, what is it that you want to get done with your life? Where do you want to be? What kind of house do you want to own? What kind of job do you want to be in? What kind of family are you going to have? And then you're going to work your way backwards. 40 years from now, where are you going to be? And where do you need to be 30 years from now to get to that 40-year mark? Where do you need to be 20 years from now to get to that 30-year mark? Where do you need to get to 10 years from now? And so on. Because once you figure out that long-term plan, you'll be able to get to the short-term plan that will help you succeed today. Number 2, make learning your goal, not the letter. And what I mean by that is that we often, as students, and I did the same thing, focus on the grade. The grade is actually irrelevant to you. The letter next to your name at the end of a semester won't matter. And I can tell you something, I've been out of college now for about 10 years as a student. And at no point in these 10 years has anybody ever asked me what my grades were. Even when I applied for this job as a college professor, nobody ever said, Patrick, what kind of grades did you get in college? Because all that matters is the degree itself. A student who gets a 2.0 throughout their degree plan has the same degree that the person who had a 4.0. And I'm not saying you shouldn't focus on grades at all, you should try your best. But if you make the grade your focus, you're not going to focus on what's most important, which is learning. Number 3, read the syllabus. Now for those who don't know, the syllabus is kind of the Bible of your class. When you go into a class, the teacher's going to have this document which is going to explain everything about the class, the rules of the class, the schedule of the class, the types of assignments that you'll be doing. Everything you need to know about the class is in the syllabus. And chances are, if you have a question about the class, that's in the syllabus too. So go check it out. Read the syllabus. Either print it out, have it with you at all times, or download it to your phone or your computer or your tablet. So that way you can always go directly to the syllabus to see what you need to know. Number 4, meet your professor outside of class. Now, you're going to be spending 3 or 4 hours a week with your professor, and that's great. You're going to feel like you really know them really well, and you probably will because you've been seeing this professor and getting their personality. But remember, your professor probably has about 150 students throughout the semester. You're one of 150 students that they come into contact with, and to be honest, your professor probably doesn't know you that well. So in the first 2 weeks of class, go visit your professor. Just stop by their office, or if they don't have office hours, ask if you can meet with them before or after class, and just introduce yourself. Talk about who you are, why you're in college, and if you're not sure, ask them why that class you're taking is important. Chances are they can tell you exactly why you're taking that class and why it's required for you. By meeting your professor, later on when you need help in the semester, they're going to remember you. You're not just one of 150 people now, you're an individual. And that interaction you had at the beginning of the semester before you needed help is going to build goodwill so that later on when you do need help, They're going to be much happier to help because they know who you are as a person. Number 5, turn your phones off during class. I gotta be honest, I love my phone. I don't know what I would do without it. And when I'm not in class, I'm actually on my phone quite a bit. I have to kind of stop myself from looking at my phone right now, just thinking about it. But the point is that when you look at your phone, you're distracted from what you're doing. And you may think, oh, I'm good at multitasking. But you're actually sending a message to your professor and to your fellow classmates when you look at your phone. You're sending the message that what's going on in this class right now isn't interesting to me. And that may not be true, but that's the message that we as professors receive. And trust me, you don't want to tell your professor that you're not interested in what we're saying. That's going to probably offend us. So just turn your phones off when you come into class, or put them on airplane mode so they won't receive any messages, won't ding or buzz or vibrate. Make sure there's no alarms set, because a phone can be a huge distraction to not just yourself, but your fellow students and even your professor. Number 6, do the reading before class. And not just the reading, but anything else that was due before class. So if you had a video to watch, or you had a short essay to write, do that work before you get to class. Because when you get there, your professor is going to expect that you know exactly what's going on, that you've read the materials, that you are aware of what's being discussed that day. And if you think about it, probably about half of your class is going to have done the same thing. They're going to have read, or they're going to have done the assignment. And if you're one of those people that hasn't, you're going to feel really, really awkward as everybody else knows what's going on, and you're kind of just sitting there not understanding what everybody's talking about. It's going to make you feel really uncomfortable. It's going to put you behind in class. So just do the work before you get to class. Number 7, take notes in class. This is a huge skill that you're going to have to learn if you don't already have it. You need to figure out how to take notes. And one of the things that you're going to want to do probably is, if the teacher has a PowerPoint, for example, you're going to want to write everything on that PowerPoint. You've got to resist that urge, because chances are a lot of what's on that PowerPoint isn't really relevant to you. So please, please, please learn how to take notes, ask for what's relevant, and maybe later on, if the teacher did have a lot on their PowerPoint, ask for them to send a copy to you. That'll really help you out by being able to look at the notes the teacher had, but also be able to write some notes of your own. And do handwrite your notes. If you're going to type them up, try to handwrite them later, because a different part of your brain is actually activated when you handwrite something versus when you type something. And definitely don't just take a picture of something unless you're going to handwrite it later. That's because, again, just looking at the words isn't going to be enough. You'll need to write the words in order to really let it sink in. Number 8, be realistic about your limitations. I don't know if you know this, but there are 168 hours in a given week. Of those 168 hours, hopefully you're sleeping about 49 or more hours. That's about 7 hours a night. And just a quick mini tip, if you're not getting at least 7 hours a night, you are setting yourself up for later failure. You're going to get sick, you're going to get stressed, and that lack of sleep is going to exacerbate all of that. So definitely get 7 hours of sleep at night. So you're sleeping about 49 hours a week, you have 168 hours total. What are you going to do with the rest of those hours? If you're working part or full-time, as many students do, you're going to have to think about how many classes you can take. We need to be really honest with ourselves. If you're working a full-time job, you probably shouldn't be taking full-time classes. It's going to be very difficult for you to find success doing that. I recommend, if you're doing a full-time job, do part-time classes. If you're doing a part-time job, full-time classes. Know your limitations, because if you try to do too much, you're going to be like I was 20 years ago. You're going to drop out of college. You don't want that to happen just because you're trying to do everything. There is enough time. You can take an extra year to graduate if you need to. It's better than getting a low grade and then later having to retake the class because of that. Number 9, schedule focused time for homework. The word focused is really important in that sentence, because a lot of you probably think you're pretty good at checking your messages on your phone or getting on Instagram and getting on Snapchat while studying. And you know what? You're not that great at it. You really need to focus on your homework, on your reading, on your writing, on whatever you're working on. I recommend that you find some instrumental music that'll be really great. That's going to help your brain focus on what you want to study, but won't distract you with a lot of lyrics. So find a music station that's going to play maybe classical, but also there's some great bands out there that do rock music that doesn't have words. That focused time will really help you. Also, while you're studying, pretend you're in class and put away your phone. Turn off the TV. Don't have anything else to distract you. Tell your family or friends that you're going to be studying so that they don't come in and talk to you. Doing that will help make it so that you can focus on studying. And finally, number 10, ask for help. I gotta tell you, probably the biggest mistake I made when I was a college student 20 years ago is that I thought I had to do everything on my own. I thought that none of my professors cared about me. I was clearly smart. I got good grades in high school. I was even on a scholarship. But I made some really poor choices, and I didn't ask for help when I needed to. That was probably the poorest choice that I made. So know that there are people out there that care about you. Your professor cares about you. Your family cares about you. Your friends care about you. We have counselors and advisors. We all care about you. The moment you think that somebody doesn't care about you, you're wrong. You just have to ask. And if you don't ask for help, then you're going to not find the success you need. There is not a single successful person in the world who got where they are without the help of others. And they had to ask for that help. We're not going to help you unless we know you need help. So please ask. So thanks for watching my top 10 rules for college success. I hope they've been helpful for you. You know, I actually have about 10 or 20 more of these, but I don't really have enough time to share them with you right now. But I do have lots of time if you're able to stop by my office in Casa 225. Or maybe if you see me walking around campus, just say, "Hi, Patrick." Of course, I'm not going to know who you are because I don't know who watched this video, but just say, "Hey, I watched your video in orientation." And I'll go, "Oh, I hope it was helpful." Just know that all of these rules are here to help you, and so many of us are here to help you. Me, your advisors, your counselors, your other professors, and just be there for us, and we'll be there for you.